Hey guys, it's Screamods here with another tutorial for DNB Academy. Today I want to look at you at breaks and how to properly process them, what to do if a break is a different tempo, and how to kind of stretch it into your tempo without ruining it too much basically, and what my ways are to combine it into a full drum loop basically. So right now I would like to look for a good break. So I'm typing that into my user library. Exactly, something like that, where you have a different tempo break. And I really love the sound of this one. It's super groovy. So first step would be to choose a warp function. Doesn't matter right now which one. And then go here, click Shift, and then there should be this little arrow appearing, and then you stretch it into the grid. Then we're just going to take a small part of it and play that. As you can hear, it sounds a bit weird. So there's a way to fix that weird sound, or at least have minimal of these artifacts in our break. So the first way to do it is basically take the beats function, go to that transient part here, to the one directional, which basically makes it a ramp like that and takes every transient it recognizes and basically fades it. So you can put that around there and try how it sounds. As you can see, now it sounds a lot cleaner than it did before, but also snappier. It depends on if you like that. There's all these different algorithms. There's, for example, tone. As you can hear, it has a lot more of these artifacts, and there's texture. That one as well, it sounds kind of terrible with that break. But for example, if you kind of half the speed of that, you get a typical jungle sound with the texture one, which can be very nice for your project. So that's a kind of a classic stretch method for jungle, and you can put that on vocals as well to get that like old school stretched effect. Then there's Complex Pro, Complex, and Repitch. And Repitch basically is the most natural sounding one, but it will actually pitch the sound. And that is really cool for drum and bass. But if you want to keep the original tonality, which we want right now in this experiment, we're going to do it differently. We're going to go to Complex, for example, and right click on the thing and consolidate it. Now that we consolidate it, it gives us another option to edit it again. The beats function is the kind of like the basic standard algorithm that Ableton chooses, but we can now combine it, for example, and use the transient option, turn that down, and now, and I like, for example, that first snare more, so we can crossfade that. And yeah, now we can consolidate that again, and I think that's the cleanest way to get a clean break. And now there's a few loose ends, so we can choose a kick here. We have any kick here. And we just load that in. And then to kind of get a more full and more drum and bassy type of break out of this, we're going to use this break as kind of an inspiration for a drum break and going to use it as the main element, but going to make it stick out in a mix more by adding different non-acoustic elements. So now we add a kick and we just look where the kick is here in the break, and it's quite standard here. Then there's one here. If you don't recognize this at first, just listen to it and you will find it. I remember that there's a double kick here. Here is different. It's like a small one here. Let's put it there. And as you see, it's a little bit fidgety because this is kind of a live style break. So it will have some of the kicks a little bit off key and not totally on point, not off key, off grid, which is pretty sick actually for the groove. Now that you got that part down, you can use Shaperbox, for example, or whatever program you prefer. I like using Shaperbox, and I make this little S curve basically, and then I put it on my kick, and now every time my kick plays, this kick here will basically be ducked. And it's cool to listen to it in solo because then you can tell if it's maybe too extreme. And we're just taking out a bit of that. And then in context, it will sound good. And then I'm gonna do a similar thing with a snare. I'm going to one of my folders. This is one of my snares. Take that one and just layer it on top. I still want some of that original snare to come through, so I'm making the snare a bit smaller. Then I'm just duplicating it by holding Control, and I just choose the snare. Actually, prefer this one. Excuse me. And obviously you can try around as long as you want with this, but I don't want to waste your time with just figuring out how long exactly the snare is going to be. And then I'll look at that again. Exactly, that sounds already really cool. Another thing I would do to kind of help with some of the minimal artifacts that are still in the break, and the kind of the feeling that it's not 100% connected yet, all of the elements, I would use kind of like a hat loop of some sort. So you just choose a hat and you make it kind of straight. You can still make it a bit groovy if you want, but that's a subject for a different day. And then you just basically fill it in. And now you notice how it's kind of came together. What I really like doing is add that sidechain on the hats tops as well. but I like to make it way shorter. It's so the transients can really come through. It doesn't sound too ducked, you know, but that's obviously also up to taste. Then I put it in a group, call the group drums, and to give it one last push, I can put some glue compression on it or some saturation. And the compression will always push the highs a bit, so you might need to trim some or turn elements down. And yeah, that's how I edit breaks and use them as inspiration for drum grooves. And you can also do that with the higher pitched version we saw shortly earlier. But yeah, this is how I do it and how I go around all these different little issues. Yeah, hope you liked the video, subscribe, and see you in the next one.